Wimer. I know Robert Wimer. He goes to my church, and he has a fabulous voice. He is a wonderful singer, both in the congregation and in our church choir. Robert is a very gifted musician and a wonderful singer. Robert works at the animal shelter and has a passion for caring for the animals and advocating for the animals that are there. And so he's kind of combined those two things in kind of an interesting way. I became aware of this. I follow Robert on Facebook, and he has doing an interesting project that I thought he's gotten some publicity for doing that. So you may have heard a little bit about it, but I wanted Robert to come and tell us all about it. So I'd like to introduce Robert Wimer.
Well, thank you all for inviting me and having me here. I promise to make this very short and sweet so you can get back to your more important lives than listening to this bald guy up here around. So, some of you probably have heard what I've been doing for the last 116 days. I have been basically standing underneath the overpass just outside of Trenton, Missouri, and singing a song a day, and I'll be doing that for the next year. I could go into the whole logistics and things like that and give you facts and figures, but what I really wanted to get into is the why. Why am I doing this rather odd thing? And if you happen to remember back probably about 3 years ago, I did another odd thing at our shelter, and I spent 3 days and nights in a kennel there. And it was to promote the children's book that I wrote some time ago called Super Ginormous Dogamundosaurus. Yeah, long word. But for 3 days and nights, I spent my time in a kennel. The only time that I was able to go out was to use the facilities. Sorry, I'm dedicated, but not that dedicated. To use the facilities, and if anyone would come out and walk me. Now, at the shelter, whenever you would, yeah, I didn't get walked very much. I was a bad dog. At the shelter, whenever we clean there, we do a hard cleaning, and there is a row of dogs that has to get crated. So what I would do is I was on that moving row, and I had to go into what we call a bonding room. And I went into a bonding room with another dog. And his name was Brody. And Brody and I, for the next 3 days, got very, very acquainted. And Brody is no longer here. Brody had to be euthanized. And his death really hit me very hard. Since that time, we've had several hundred, or even close to several thousand animals that I have seen at the shelter. And a lot of them have found great forever homes. And it's wonderful to be able to see them all come through there. And I love each and every one of them. But each time, I go back to this dog. I go back to Brody. And it can be a sad day cleaning back there. My day consists in the morning is basically I'm a glorified pooper scooper. They call me a kennel supervisor there, but that's what I do pretty much for my mornings, and that's just fine. I have peace with that. I have joy with that. I'm back with my canines. It's great. But there are some days whenever it's really sad. I think to myself, I'm coming behind the problem. I'm reacting to the problem. And for people who know me, they know that I don't like to be that way. I'm very proactive. I like to get in front of something. I like to see how can we stop this problem before it manifests itself into something a lot bigger. So, in thinking that, I had an idea. I have a talent in music. God gave me this talent. And I have a love for critters. There's got to be some way that I can put these two together. So I mulled over it and mulled over it and mulled over it. And I thought to myself, why can't I do something to get ahead of this problem using these things? So one day I was going to work, walking to work, and in my walk out there I go under the overpass and I happen to cough, just like that. And I heard the echo just reverberate all around. It was incredible. It was like I was in a cathedral. So the next few days after that, I started to record some of the videos. I put them on Facebook, I put them on Instagram, and a lot of people started to listen, and they really liked it. Ooh, it sounds nice. And I started doing some opera songs, some show tunes, some country songs, even though I don't have a voice for country. But I started doing all of these different songs. And one night, as I was getting ready to go to bed, I remembered a project that a friend of mine, Jim Norris, did some time before this, and it was his self-portrait project. And his project, he painted a self-portrait each day for an entire year. And I thought, well, why couldn't I do that? Why couldn't I do singing under the overpass for a year? It's odd, it's creative, it's unique. No one's ever done anything like that. So, I talked with my buddy Jim, and even though I didn't have to, I asked him for permission to be able to use his idea in this project, to be able to have this whole thing go on for an entire year. And he said, yeah, sure, no problem. You don't have to worry about it. And so what happened was day one, August 17th of 2015, I did my first song, and I believe it was God Bless the USA. Lee Greenwood, I believe, yeah. Proud to be an American. So I did that as my first song. And since then, I have done a song a day for each year. It has unbelievably taken off, because for each day that is on there, I got more people to notice and more people to notice. And all of a sudden, I was getting noticed by not only our local news people, KTTN and Trenton Republican Times, but also the Chillicothe Tribune, the St. Joseph News Press Gazette, the TV stations in St. Joseph, as well as Kansas City. And I believe I've been featured on several other places within the state of Missouri. And that's all well and good, and I'm happy for that. But it comes down to the thing of a creative, unique idea that I wanted to do, basically to keep my sanity in a place that at times was very sad. I had to do something to keep my mind going, because we all know that we have these big dreams whenever we're young, and then we have to grow up and we have to earn that paycheck for our family, and sometimes those dreams get put to the side. And this was an instance that I got to marry the two things, my love for music and my love for animals. And throughout this whole thing, I kept putting up video and video and video, and one of my Facebook friends said, well, you know what, this would be a great type of thing for a fundraiser. And said, oh, I never even thought about that. Why not? Why not? So I added the GoFundMe portion to my website and started taking in contributions. I started taking song requests from people whenever they wanted to do that. I started commenting and dialoguing with people, and it was, or has been, and will be a fabulous ride. Today is day 116, and I haven't done it yet, and I have no idea what song I'm going to do. Something always pops up. Today's a non-planning day, that type of thing. And all of these recognitions are great. All of the things that I have been getting through this thing has been great. But it comes back to this one dog. This one dog that I spent 3 days and 3 nights with in a bonding room and that type of thing. That has been the motivator for what I'm doing. What can I do? And it's a kind of a question that I put out there with any of you all. The world that we live in is pretty messed up. I think we don't need to be told that. But if we all do something a little creative and unique to kind of add to the beauty of what is around us, instead of all of the violence and the vile things that are out there, we can make a difference in someone else's life, in other people's lives. lots of people have gotten inspired from doing this. And all I'm doing is I'm just a fat, bald guy underneath an overpass just singing some songs. I look foolish. I mean, and that's fine. I don't mind looking foolish. And I can't explain why this has picked up in the last 3.5 or 3 months or so, except to say, and this is my little thing, and I'm not going to get all preachy, but there's a God element in this, because I know a little bit about marketing, I know a little bit about technology, I know a little bit about music and things like that, but there's no way that what has happened over the last several months and what will happen throughout the course of this year is anything but God involvement in this type of thing. And I give my first recognition to Him, as I have in any other interview that I've given. First props go to Him. And really, that's my story for Under the Overpass. Does anyone have any questions about how I do this, what I do? Anyone at all?
So you said you take requests. What if you don't get a request for a day? You just kind of whatever pops in your head.
Oh my! It's sometimes I'll wake up and there will be a song immediately there. Other times I'll work off of a theme. Like for example, I did a Star Trek theme. I sang the tunes to Star Trek, The Next Generation. So, yeah, it's silly, but I'm a nerd, and that's the way I roll. But I did that. I have got requests that have piled up that are going to last beyond the year. So I'll be doing this a little longer just to get them all done. Yeah.
What time of day does this happen? The same time every day? Or?
No, it's whenever family and work permits. Also, depending upon traffic. I found out that times between 11 and 1, lunch hour, are the worst times to do it, because I usually have to play dodge car with my singing. If there's a whole bunch of cars that stop, I could be singing, "Oh, beautiful for..." Just watch them go by. Early in the morning, whenever I'm walking out there, is good. It also depends upon my voice. Sometimes if I'm going way early in the morning, my voice hasn't woke up quite yet, so that limits the songs. Other times I've done them shortly after midnight. But what constitutes a day is from midnight to 11:59 p.m. that day. So it's just whenever I can fit it in. Anyone else?
Are you using the proceeds from this to benefit the animals?
All the proceeds from the GoFundMe go directly to the animal shelter. This is I guess you could say, my gift back to them. Anyone else?
So, Robert, you're singing. You sing. Give us kind of about some of the different types of things that you're singing.
Oh my!
I'm amazed at the breadth of the. He sings Queen, and he sings.
Well, the country tunes. Yeah. I've done opera. I'm in a Christmas carol, for obvious reason, Christmas carol type of theme. For hymns. Just pretty much anything and everything. I won't do rap because I look enough the fool. I don't need to do rap. Just anything and everything.
And how do you record it?
Oh, my little studio. So I stand up here. You'll see me out there like this. I will be recording, and then I'll stop it, go to work. I upload to YouTube. And then I have templates that I've made within any of my videos. You'll go down and you'll see the description. All the description will be the same. Well, I've done my templates here, and I just do a simple copy and paste, and then I have a paragraph of description that's on there. Whenever I get home, I'll tweak the video a little bit if necessary, and then post it onto my website and share it to the various social networks. There's a considerable amount of planning, and I'm a person of processes and systems. I can set those things up and have an idea of where I want everything to go. So whenever I wake up in the morning, I know that after I record my song, it's just a 1, 2, 3 type of process, and it's there. So, yep.
It's very unique.
Well, thank you. Yes.
How's a question about the animal shelter there? What's the success rate, a little bit about how many dogs end up, what percentage dogs find homes versus ones that have to be euthanized?
It's a feast or famine type of thing. Dogs as compared to cats, whenever a dog or a cat comes in, dogs stand a significantly better chance of getting reclaimed as opposed to cats. The reason why we have so many cats out there right now is that people don't reclaim cats as much as dogs. In fact, whenever I managed there at one time, and I voluntarily stepped down just to go back to my dogs, throughout the year I ran my reports and found out that 130 dogs got reclaimed as compared to 3 cats in the year 2014, I believe. Hardly any euthanizing, and we don't euthanize based on space. The only time that the shelter would euthanize is if the animal was sick and was languishing in pain, or they were such a danger to be adopted that they would spend the rest of their lives in a kennel, and that's about the only time that we would do that. Adoptions do very well. It's feast or famine, just like any business. You'll go through the entire week and not have a single adoption. And then like this last Sunday, whenever I worked there, I had 3 cat adoptions within the hour. And it just depends.
What's the typical cost of reclaiming an animal?
Depends upon if the city has picked it up. We have a contract with the city, and it is $20 per day, the moment that it starts, not counting Sundays. So if a dog got picked up on Wednesday and you picked it up on Friday, it'd be $20, $60, which does not go to the shelter. It goes back to the city of Trenton. Yep. Anyone else? Any requests? Well, that's all I have.
I'd like to thank Robert for coming. Like I said, I thought this was a interest, and at tables I've noticed that we've talked about this a little bit, and so I thought it would be a great program to bring something a little different. And if you haven't checked out Robert's website with the song, I'm sure there will be a song there that you recognize, and he's putting his own unique spin on it. Robert's a wonderful singer, and it's kind of, you get to clicking on the videos and can spend quite a bit of time there looking at and listening to all the singing. So.
I did have one person after work, they stopped and listened. And that was cool. That was one of the cool days. And if any of you stop by and see me, pull off to the side and take a listen. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
I came, one time I went to a theater performance in the city and got home really late at night. It was like midnight. And I'm like, I saw your car, and I'm like, oh, Robert's out there. And I was afraid I was going to, so here's me. I'm in the video, creeping by, trying to be quiet and not disturb your singing. But yes, any time of the day or night. You
No
can,
dancing though, right?
No dancing. You can,
No.
yeah.
Maybe Elizabeth, we've got some time. Maybe Robert would sing a song for us.
Yeah, Robert, would you sing us a song?
Let's see. I'm trying. A lot of the songs that I sing, I have to write down because I don't know the words. But let's see. How about "Oh Holy Night"?
Robert really can sing a holy night.
Oh yeah, no pressure there. If anyone, yeah,
Yeah, right.
I could yodel if I holy night. Okay. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, soul felt its woe, weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, O night divine, O night when Christ was born, O night divine, O night, O night divine.